Can we sneak in the back door with Richard Sherman? I think the Eagles could talk themselves into it. I will say that.
You've got your Mac guys here on Birds 365, Jody McDonald and John McMullen. Plenty yet to cover today, including talking to our bud, Paul Domwich. Good catch by you. I had forgotten that D'Orlando was the Hall of Fame voter for the Falcons. I missed that shirt. You got better eyes than me, too, if you could notice. The shirt that he was wearing had the Hall of Fame voter logo on it. But we'll get Damo up here. Maybe we'll talk Hall of Fame with him, too. But there are some Eagle things we want to get in with Damo. And I got some Eagle things for you, J-Mac. Did you see the quote from Le'Veon Bell over the weekend?
Yeah, come on, Le'Veon.
That he would not play for Andy Reid again if its life depended on it.
I'm sure Andy's broken up.
He gets picked up off the scrap heap, has a very productive career with the Pittsburgh Steelers, becomes a free agent, Jets blatantly overpay him to go in there, and it never works for him in New Jersey, and gets released in the middle of that mega contract, and the Jets just eat the money because he is doing absolutely nothing for him. And Andy picks him up off the scrap heap and gives him a chance with the Chiefs, and they make a Super Bowl run. All right, you didn't get a Super Bowl ring, Le'Veon, but you were playing well into February, which other players weren't given the chance. And he said something that seems to have hurt Le'Veon's feelings. And Le'Veon tried to walk it back over social media over the weekend that I'm sorry that I decided to air my views and my feelings on social media. Yeah, but you did. Sorry. And everybody noticed it before you tried to walk it back. Believe me, as a Jet fan, I know he's a stone cold diva. And sometimes divas are a necessity because they're talented players and they help you win. But they also have their downsides as well. I would say as of right now, this Philadelphia Eagle roster is pretty much diva-free. Would you agree, J-Mac?
Yes, I would agree, and that's not necessarily a good thing, by the way, Jody. That means you're devoid of divas tend to be really, really talented. Now, at the end of their careers, like Le'Veon Bell, I mean, in the prime in Pittsburgh, Le'Veon was arguably the best running back in football, certainly the most well-rounded running back in football. They tend to be really talented. OBJ, people like Randy Moss back in the day was described, so many receivers. They tend to be really talented. Maybe Devontae Smith develops into a diva, and maybe that's a good thing.
Not happening. Not happening. He's never going to be a diva. He's got his mind in the right place.
I just mean from a talent perspective. But as far as Le'Veon Bell as a whole, I'll give you a story a wise man once told me. You were talking about coffee to begin the show, Jody. If you're going to the Wawa to get a coffee, your morning coffee, and you meet an a-hole and you go through the rest of your day, you probably met an a-hole. But if you go to the Wawa and you meet an a-hole, and then you continue to meet a-holes the rest of the day, no matter where you go, you're probably the a-hole. So, Le'Veon Bell, Pittsburgh, Jets, Kansas City, look in the mirror, buddy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I have the same read on Le'Veon Bell that you have. All right, so there's a reason, and it tied nicely together that Le'Veon Bell did this with Andy Reid, one of our guys, and said something stupid and once again proved his diva-like status. Good luck, because you're right. If you're a diva and everyone looks at you as a diva and you don't have that talent that you used to, Le'Veon Bell, guess what? Going to get that much harder to find a job going forward. You might not want to play for Andy Reid. I don't know who's going to want to have you play for them next year. You may like the coach better, but you might not have all that many reaching out.
How bad is it when you're a big name, Jody, and Philadelphia Eagles fans don't ask about you? You know it's bad because they want every big name. Any name they heard of, they want. And they don't want Le'Veon.
Nobody wants Le'Veon Bell. He might be hard-pressed to find a job this upcoming year. But let me ask you about another guy who certainly earned diva status. And I'll ask you to evaluate him both as a football talent and as a diva as well. Who's a free agent? Who's still sitting out there? Who plays a position of need for the Philadelphia Eagles? Because I know that I have absolutely on air referred to him as a diva. That would be cornerback Richard Sherman, who, as part of the Legion of Boom in Seattle, was a key contributor on a Super Bowl winning team. He kind of wore out his welcome in Seattle and went free agent, stayed in division, landed with the 49ers. To me, yeah, he wasn't the shutdown. And I use that phrase because it became a standard in the National Football League. I don't really even know if there is one shutdown corner left in the NFL. I just don't think that happens anymore. So let's just say Richard Sherman is a talented cornerback, not as talented as he was in Seattle, but still played pretty good football for the San Francisco 49ers these past couple of years, but is still sitting out there. No one has made the move for Richard Sherman yet, including the 49ers. And I did read over the weekend that it looks like the 49ers haven't even pursued him a little bit this offseason. He is certainly an upgrade talent-wise from what the Eagles have on their roster right now. I don't know what his asking number is going to be if the Eagles have the flexibility to get their hands on him. But I'm asking you from both a talent, a putting up with diva, and a financial standpoint. How much should I be dreaming the dream that Richard Sherman can be a Philadelphia Eagle?
Yeah, I mean, boy, I mean, he's 33 as well. You haven't put that into the mix. So we talk about this, where the Eagles transition. Do they believe they're a little bit better? I think he's in the Ryan Kerrigan category. If you can get him at a bare bones price, nothing on the salary cap, why not? He's certainly better than what you have. We just had D on. We're going to have Damo on. We talked about the Hall of Fame. This is a borderline Hall of Fame player. I don't necessarily think he should be in because he is more of a zone corner, more of a than a press guy. You talk about lockdown. Typically, when you think about Hall of Famers, you think about lockdown corners. But as you mentioned, Jody, they might not exist anymore. So you might have to start thinking about it a different way. And then I go back to the philosophy of the defense. In theory, they're going to play a lot of cover 2, cover 3. What cover 3 corner is better than Richard Sherman? There isn't one. He is the cover 3 corner. That is the guy. That is the Legion of Boom. Big, long, lengthy, 6'3". I mean, he would be, in theory, a perfect fit from a schematic standpoint for this team. Interestingly enough, Darius Slay wouldn't be. So all of that I like, but do you want a 33-year-old guy? Do you want to get the startup cost over with Zach McPherson? We just talked about young corners. You know, it's kind of, where are you? And the Eagles go down this rabbit hole. I remember we were talking to Tim McManus last week. They do it every year. After the season ends, they say, we got to get younger. We got to get more cost effective. We got to turn this roster over. Then the offseason goes along and they say, we're a little bit better than we think we are. They listen to people like John McMullen saying, you know what? Atlanta's not very good. You can beat Atlanta. And all of a sudden, 8-9 turns into 9-8 in a bad division. Can we sneak in the back door with Richard Sherman? I think the Eagles could talk themselves into it. I will say that.
And the key question, you pointed it out, and I knew it, but I just set you up for it. It's going to be coin. How much is Richard Sherman willing to pay for? The Eagles would like him for 40 cents on the dollar. He's probably looking for 90 cents on the dollar. When the league hasn't signed you and you're into June, you got to realize you're not getting $1 for $1. You're not getting what you thought you were worth when you went to free agency. So you're going to play for a reduced price. How reduced is that going to be? The Eagles probably want it very reduced. I still think someone will step up and pay him more than the Eagles would probably like to pay him at this point. The other question comes in with Richard Sherman is, what is he looking to do with this season? Is he looking to go out and have an unbelievably good Boppo season and make someone believe that next year he would be a guy who can get $1 on a free agent market? Or is he a guy who wants to join a team and maybe make a Super Bowl run? He's got his ring, but if he could get a secondary one with another team, that John McMullen guy on Birds 365 talked about his Hall of Fame potential. That would certainly give a Hall of Fame presenter a little bit of an angle to play with. His second Super Bowl ring somewhere. Yeah, the Eagles can't really sell that, can they?
No, they can't.
Super Bowl contender this year.
No, they could sell. What I just said, we might be a contender in a bad division, but I don't think it's a Super Bowl contender. So, yeah, it depends on his prospects as a free agent and what teams that are perceived to be Super Bowl contenders, do they even have any interest? But, I'm thinking about it. You brought up diva, Jody. I don't even know if Richard Sherman's a diva. He's
He's a stone cold diva.
But he's a trash talker. He's got a big personality. But so does Brandon Graham. I don't consider Brandon Graham a diva. I mean, he talks more trash than anybody. So on the field, he's a trash talker. But I don't think he's a huge pain in the what off the field. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I do. I think he's a pain in the what off the field, and he would go right to the top of the diva list with the Eagles if he were to sign here. All right, the other CB2 I wanted to bring up today. We talked so much about QB3 last week, and really, is that going to determine the fates and fortunes of the Eagles' upcoming season? Methinks not. But CB2 can. You got Darius Slay as your number one corner. What if you made Darius Slay your number 2 cornerback? I'm talking about.
I see what you're. Bill Belichick does it all the time.
Yeah, I'm talking about Bill Belichick and a cornerback that he has, as a matter of fact, and that's Stephon Gilmore, who was, I believe, the Defensive Player of the Year in the National Football League in 2019. Am I correct in that? Am I remembering that correctly?
You are correct, yes.
So you're talking about one of the supreme talents in the National Football League who, at least if you believe the rumor mill, has been thrown out there as a possible trade candidate for the Patriots to move on from. Big-time salary cap number. There's a lot to it. Would he be willing to redo his contract? Everyone is always willing to redo their contract if you're talking about one that's very advantageous for them. So the Eagles would have to know about that before they ever got into contract trade discussion talks with a team like New England for a guy like Stephon Gilmore. Would he even be worthy looking into? Because they've got a massive cap hit going forward with Darius Slay. Can they get involved with talking about a guy like Stephon Gilmore, who down the road, if you redo his contract for this upcoming year, because Eagles don't have a lot of cap room, that means it's going to be that much worse of a cap situation down the road. Slay and Gilmore as the opposite quarterbacks, guilty as charged, like you said we discussed with Tim McManus. I'm now buying into, the Eagles could compete this upcoming year. If you're going to get Stephon Gilmore, you absolutely are suggesting, we can sneak in and win this division. Am I stupid for even going there and bringing up his name, that the Eagles could have the best corner combos in the National Football League if they could get a deal done for a guy like Stephon Gilmore?
Yeah, I mean, only because of the cap hit. It's enormous. I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is. It's well over.
Well,
20.
whatever it is, they're going to have to change it.
Well,
they can't bring him in. They have to redo his deal, which means he's going to have to get guaranteed money, and you're going to have to push it down the road in future cap years. It doesn't matter what his contract says now. For the Eagles to even think about acquiring him, they're going to have to redo his deal anyway.
Yeah, I mean, look, the salary cap is overrated in the fact that if you want to really get something done, you could probably get it done. But in this particular instance, where the Eagles are $4.953 million under the cap, and that doesn't include Landon Dickerson's contract, so that'll be another chunk off of that. To pick up a guy with a $20 million cap hit, $20 million plus, you got to do a lot of gymnastics. Remember, he's also under contract 2020. That was 2020. Actually, it's not that bad. I'm looking about it, Jody. I'm looking at it. I just pulled up his contract.
It's only like $7 million.
Yeah, 20 million. 7 million is a lot better. The cap hit is 16.2.
Right.
The dead money for New England would be in the 7 million range. So is it doable? Yeah, they could get it done, especially if you extend him and how he does his voidable years trick.
That's what they're going to have to do.
But, this is a guy who still plays at a high level. So you can't play those tricks you can play with, say, Ryan Kerrigan. You're going to have meat in the contract. You're going to have significant money in the first 2 years of the contract that gets backloaded. I just don't think they're in a position to do that until really, we're 2021, 2022. The cap is going to spring back, but the new TV money doesn't kick into 2023, really. That's when they have a lot of space to do a lot of different things. There's too many issues with this team from a cap perspective. They've already swallowed their medicine. I don't think they're going to swallow more medicine by working out something with Stephon Gilmore. And, oh, by the way, I don't think he'd want to play here, so that would play into it as well. So there's a lot of different – I'd love to have the player. Can I have the player without the headaches? I'd love that, but too many headaches.
Yeah. No, you have to take the whole package. So basically – Richard Sherman, available out there, still a talented football player. Might not be what he once was, but a guy who could be a perfect fit depending on the Eagles scheme that they're going to use. You're telling me no shot, no chance.
No,
not
just
happening.
You know what? Just get Steven Nelson, Eagles, please. Just get it done. I mean, that's the realm. That's the neighborhood we're in. I go to Haddonfield, Jody, and I see some of the nice houses, and I say, boy, I want that house. It's not my neighborhood. I'm in Stratford. I'm in my neighborhood. Eagles are in the Steven Nelson neighborhood. Don't worry about the Stephon Gilmore neighborhood.
No Stephon Gilmore, no Richard. You're telling me that Nelson can still happen, because I'm starting to believe let's go Zach. Or Zach, depending on how you pronounce the Eagles' fourth round.
Well, it is Zach, but it's spelled Zach. But,
right, it's spelled Zach, but pronounced Zach. Get ready for some Zach, because you're telling me they don't have a chance of playing at the top of the market, but you still have faith that the Steven Nelson market.
Hey, he's out there. You got to have faith. Until he's not, you got to have faith.
All right. We'll see if our next guest has any updated info on the Eagles' pursuit of an upgrade at cornerback over Zach. Sorry, Zach, we like you. We never even seen you play, Zach, and it seems like we're bad-mouthing you and trying to replace you on a day-in, day-out basis. But that's what we do here on Birds 365. And we'll get Paul Domowitch to jump on board and help us do it. He's next here on Birds 365.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.